Hey subscribers! Welcome to part 4. Now that I've got into this, it's going to probably be at least 6 parts, maybe 7. As I've got in this, man, it just goes deeper and deeper. It's like peeling an onion. You peel one a layer, there's another layer. You peel that layer, there's another layer. Well, we did an introduction, part 1. Kind of covering the fallacies or basic truths of the rut. Then we talked about a year in the whitetail buck, and then we talked about a year in the doe in part 3. So this is part 4, and what we're going to talk about is the 4 types of scrapes. They're very, very important. Now you have to remember where I hunt at, and a lot of my audience is in the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. So you that are down south, we'll have to adjust these times when I talk about dates, but it's okay. Stuff that you can look for and you can apply. I understand. I think Alabama has 3 different rutting dates. Texas has 4. Louisiana has 2. South Carolina, I think, has 2. So, nevertheless, whatever we discuss here, you can apply it if you live in Maine, Alabama, Minnesota, wherever. So let's talk about the 4 types of scrapes. Now we are in the shedding velvet time. Most bucks, all my bucks have shed. I haven't seen a buck yet that still had velvet. But as soon as that happens, you have to remember, testosterone is rising every day. Testosterone caused him to shed his antlers. He can breed right now if he has to. He has enough sperm, biologists say. But what hinders it, I told you already, does dictate the rut. They drive the rut. And still, it's not enough testosterone to get them all worked up. Now, some follower today sent me or maybe a subscriber sent me a video of a young buck kind of scooting around chasing a doe for a second or two. Very normal. Has nothing to do with the rut that's happening or whatever. It's young bucks, man. You have to go back to when you were 15, 16 years old. As you hit puberty, what you were like, okay? I told him it's like a 15-year-old boy hitting on a 30-year-old woman. Ain't nothing going to happen. But you never know in this day and age. But anyway, 4 types of scrapes. This is where we're at, and we're going to dissect this, and we'll even bring this back more later in the series. Boundary scrapes, and that's what they are, boundary scrapes, usually start immediately after shedding the velvet. Where they happen at is usually, we'll sit down right here. They usually happen on field edges. If you don't have any fields, then around white oaks, because they're going to those white oaks, going to bedding. Oaks, bedding. Food plot or ag fields, whatever, to bedding. And the buck's travel pattern right now is so small, and I am just shocked when I go online and some Facebook hunting group pops up and everybody's in a panic and everybody's got crazy theories that don't make any sense and it's not based on deer ecology. Even my bucks, who I've known 3, 4, 5 years, it's very slow. I mean, it's not like it was a couple weeks ago. Now, that's going to change as we race to October 1st, okay? So boundary scrapes are made when a buck comes up to the food source, its preferred food source, goes to an overhanging branch and scrapes out a little bit. Not much aggression. It's not going to be real big or gigantic unless it's worked by a couple bucks that go to the food plot. I don't invest a lot of time or strategy in those because what I've come to find out, after the first week or so, they dry up and the bucks are in another stage that we're going to talk about. But boundary scrapes are good to see. It means there's some bucks or a buck that is going to your food plot or to your white oak ridge that took the time enough to feel like, because they're on a short boundary, that he's going to make a scrape, and that's what he does wherever he's at. He may go over to your neighbor's property if it's close by fields. He may go over there and do a boundary scrape. Like I said, I don't invest a lot of time in that, but it's good to see, and we're starting to see that now. I've had some reports. I haven't been in the woods, and I don't go into woods except to hunt or try to change batteries or something's kooky going on with one of my cameras. I scout as I come in or scout when I'm coming out. So I'm sure they're there. I'm sure they're happening. And don't get too overly invested in them, but they're good to see. And that's what we're going to see as we get into the first couple of days of October or so. Maybe a little longer in other places. Again, every little land is a little bit different, tweaking, but this is what happens in the whitetail woods. So boundary scrapes usually start immediately after shedding their velvet. And like I said, it's on field edges or wherever their preferred food is. Next is travel scrapes. The second scrape type of scrape they make is a travel scrape. Now, what is a travel scrape? They start around 2 weeks after shedding the velvet, usually 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so, and they're along trails leading to preferred food and bedding. So if you are walking, you see some rubs on this one trail that's kind of going from bedding, going to your food plot, or reverse back, guarantee you there will be a couple of travel scrapes that are happening there. You have to remember, man, testosterone's rising, sexual frustration is slowly building. I don't invest a lot of time in it. Now, I like to see that because it reveals a lot. And along with travel scrapes, you got travel rubs, okay? And there literally will be on the main trails that he may use 2 or 3 different trails coming off the preferred food, going to wherever he's going to go bed for that day. And I don't invest a lot of time. I don't really hunt over them. It's not that time yet. Like I said, I don't hunt mornings, such as and travel corridors until around the 21st, 22nd of October, when bucks start expanding their core area a little bit. Again, we go back to bucks' personality. Some homebody bucks, even when they expand their core areas, it's not that large. But guys that have that personality to be a little nomadic, more of a traveler, then he will, venture out and go a little bit further, sometimes doubling his late summer or early fall core area. So these are great to see. Now, you on public that do hunt public, I get a lot of people that talk about more in public. I've made 3, 4, 5 videos talking about public. I don't hunt public anymore. I have and hunt a lot of public, and I'm going to try to hunt public in Kansas next year if I get drawn, and hunt public in Montana if I get drawn. So we'll see. But these are great indications of what kind of unraveling a buck's travel pattern. Like I said, that's what I would invest it in. Would I hunt over? It's a good chance you could. Because they're so short-lived, doesn't mean they won't go back and be visited by other bucks, or they may not even come back and visit it. But when something clicks in their head, when they start expanding that area, they don't visit them as much because now their travel patterns have changed a little bit. But they're good to see. I would say if you see a cluster of scrapes around October 10th, 11th, 12th here in the Midwest, Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, then, and especially if you're on public, I would probably set up, because that's a pretty good indication, especially if you get a series of really good rubs, in a row, maybe 20, 30 yards apart. That's a good place to set up. And I would set up, and I have set up in places like that when I hunted public in the first part of October. You just have to be really careful, because that means you're getting closer to where he's bedding. And like I said, man, bucks right now, even those, they bed really close to preferred food. That instinct of survival that's kicked off in their brain, which is all in their brain all the time, but really now is their primary focus is to build fat up, to survive the rigors of the rut and the rigors of wintertime. Okay, so travel scrapes are great. Great to look at. You hang a camera over it and kind of see what's going on. They are really, I get a little excited about them. I buy them, but I don't really hunt them a lot unless I've already got to stand there and I know every year there's going to be some travel scrapes that come through here. It's a good 3 or 4 or 5 day window that you can maybe stick a buck in the afternoon, coming from bedding, going out to preferred food. The rut scrapes start during the seek chase phase. Most are random as their travel pattern now is really expanding. When bucks, we're talking about bucks 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and such, when they really, something in their brains changing, they're still eating, but not as much now. Now they want to get a barometer, not only of the local deer herd that's on your property, but on your neighbors, your other neighbors. So they start satelliting a little bit. And while they're doing that, they make scrapes along the way. sometimes what I've seen, even from the stand, they're so sexually charged, so sexually frustrated, they'll never come back. They're just rubbing on trees, making scrapes. A doe, maybe she might be 48 hours, 72 hours from estrus, and he's really worked up, man. He's frustrated. So I don't really pay a lot of attention to these, okay? But you'll see them if you hunt long enough to right on the onset of the seek and chase phase, right before lockdown, you'll see these bucks, they'll come up and they'll just scrape, 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 scrape. Now, it doesn't mean that he's out traveling and he may come by and visit a travel scrape and refreshing that. There's a chance he does that. You have to remember, a buck wants to make his presence known to other bucks, especially mature bucks, and they want their presence known to does. Scrapes are just important to does as they are bucks. Which brings me to my last scrape, which is the most important. I try to get my consultation clients, try to encourage you subscribers to do this, is community scrapes. Community scrapes are visited year-round by bucks and does, and they are typically, most of the time, very close to bedding. Very close to bedding. And when a buck starts visiting then, and them are the ones you really want to hunt, when you see the bucks on your camera during the day at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you see them out on the highway in the middle of the field, crossing a busy highway, they are going from community scrape, bedding areas, community scrape. They are trying to get a read on, especially the first couple of those are going to come into estrus real quick. We'll talk about that probably tomorrow night. We'll break down the rut, how 10% of those come in heat when they typically do, then 80%, and then the last 10%. Then we'll even talk about doe fawns coming in heat, what percentage of doe fawns come into heat 30 days later after the main breeding. So, community scrapes are that's what I hunt about 4 or 5 days out of the year. But they, even during lockdown, let me tell you this, if you've got a community scrape that's really hot near bedding, and you know all your cameras have gone dead, all you're seeing is button bucks, it's a good opportunity for you to go and hunt over a community scrape, and I'll tell you why. And especially after a rain. If it's rained all night, and you know what time it's going to stop, you need to be in there, because those bucks on the community scrapes, man, even the does, they're going to go in there and they're going to visit those community scrapes. So when I know it's locked down, that's the monkey wrench I throw in the whole thing. Because I know when that buck comes off of that estrus doe, he's going back to searching doe bedding areas and community scrapes that are set up really close. Because does, you're going to find this out, you that are just starting community scrapes. Does will visit these community scrapes really right before getting estrus. You'll be shocked how many does go there, do inventory, piss in it, and then walk away, and lo and behold, you've got a parade of bucks that come through a little later. So I hope this helped, guys. I know this is a deep subject. There's a lot of gobbledygook, a lot of crap out there. This is basic deer ecology. What you have to do is interpret what your deer herd's doing. And you do that through looking at trail cameras and hunting from the stand and making observation. What are the deer telling you? So let me add this again. Let me say this again and add this one more time. The time to hunt community scrapes is right before lockdown and during lockdown. I have really seen and shot some really big deer when most of those were in estrus, but they were coming off those last couple of days. And those bucks, man, they got the taste of sex now for the last 3 to 5 days. They're going to those community scrapes. So I hope that helped. Thank you for being a subscriber. I do this for you. And I appreciate your emails. I appreciate your pictures. If you shoot a big one this year, you know I want to hear about it. I'll be here next time you come back. I'm your favorite. God bless.